Okay, so welcome everybody. I want to invite everyone to grab a piece of paper and a pencil so that as there's a couple of different prompts that I'm going to encourage you to write a couple things down as we go. So it'd be nice to have somewhere to write that down. We also have a document that goes along with this talk that will become available. That's just kind of a little outline and a few reminders of what we're talking about. I am Dr. Kelsey Ervin. I'm a naturopathic physician here in Bellingham, and I am a Qigong teacher here at Shala. And I just want to start by sending a warm I love you and thank you to Summer, who is our leader here at Shala and has really done a fantastic job of bringing us together with a lot of love and hope and joy as we reorganize the way our society is structured and how we're responding to this current change of reality. So thank you so much, Summer, and thank you so much for making this information available to everyone for free. Okay, so you've got your piece of paper and your writing utensil. So I'll take a moment to talk about what we're going to talk about here. We're going to start by taking a moment to talk about why we are all isolated from each other and just kind of give ourselves an explanation, get our heads around it. It's a wise choice for our community right now. And then we'll go into how your immune system works with this isolation as part of the, how that's factored in as part of the isolation rule. And then we'll talk about layers of the immune system and which ones we are really going to focus on keeping strong. I want to focus today on supporting all of us who are making choices that need to be very economic and inexpensive approaches. So we'll talk about 3 really important ways to take care of yourself right now that are going to be low or no cost to you at home. So, first of all, the big picture of this COVID-19 and why we are isolated from each other. I think we all have a lot of information in our heads about all of this, and we understand that we need to separate from each other so we don't become vectors for each other and pass this disease on. So let's imagine 2,000 people are in a room. And my undergraduate degree was in sociology and medical sociology, but let's just say I didn't go that direction because I'm not a statistician, but let's give a big picture idea of what could happen if there was 2,000 people in a room and the respiratory droplets of COVID-19 are sent out in the community. And let's say that 30% of the people that were in that crowd become infected with the illness, with COVID-19. That's a very generous estimation, but you know, COVID-19 is a supervillain right now, and we need to honor it by giving it assuming some generous virulence. And so then that would be 60 people that would get infected, and they would go home and be sick. And let's say of those 60 people, 30% of those people got sick enough that they had to go to the hospital. Another generous estimation. Then there would be 24 people running to the hospital, and that would overwhelm the hospital. Let's say that happened 2 days in a row even. That would be 50 new people that needed beds in the hospital. That would be a lot of people in the way that we run our hospitals. We wouldn't be necessarily ready for that. Let's say that happens 5 days in a row. You understand this, how this statistical analysis could get out of hand. So that is why we're all separating ourselves from each other. You know, and I realize the population of people that we're talking to right now, we are people who are health conscious, we're health aware, most of us aren't eating the standard American diet necessarily, we're taking good care of ourselves, and we're the Shala community, we're exercising. And that is really, you know, we are the ones who are going to be able to get this illness and have the strongest immune response to it. And especially that's what my goal is for this talk today, is to allow everyone that's listening to this talk be the people who have a strong immune response to this and don't end up in the hospital. And over time, enough of us will get this illness that then there won't be as many vectors, as much as the vulnerable population being exposed to it. And that will mean that as a society, we have less exposures, less people going to the hospital. And that's how vaccinations work too. We get, more people aren't the ones carrying the disease onto the next person. So once you have it, then the next time you get exposed to it, you aren't carrying it around, passing it around to other people. So we'll get a little bit more into that and how that all works. But that's the goal here for us to separating ourselves. And really, I think, and we'll address this. We're going to end this little talk with some stress reduction techniques. I think so important for us is to keep our fear levels down around this and to just take this opportunity to really take care of ourselves. And, we're all feeling for the people who have a dramatic shift in their financial reality. And I'm really hoping this is an opportunity for us to reach out and once we're all out of complete stress mode, take a moment to figure out who we can support around us and who's in our community that will need our support. So the reason why, and back to the vaccination talk, what about a vaccination for this? One of my previous careers was in developing the clinical trials for vaccination. So I know all about it. My family is involved with all of that. And there's so many trials going right now to try to get this vaccination for this on the market. But it will be at least a year before we have that because of the safety requirements associated, unless maybe it won't be, maybe they'll push something through. But we don't have a vaccine. But viruses are really difficult to have an effective vaccine for because of the way they mutate. And I won't go into the different ways viruses, the science behind viruses. It's really interesting. But, the flu is a good example. You can get the flu shot, you can get the flu vaccination, and let's say you're vaccinated for 12 of the strains. You now are going to be really strong against 12 of the strains of flu that are out there. Well, there's 1,200 different strains of the flu. Who knows how many are active right now? There's been this scientific analysis of what strains are most likely to be active, and those are the ones that are in each year's new flu shot. So right when a lot of people come to me and they're like, I had the flu shot and I got sick. So what often can happen is you get an injection and then your immune system is responding and reacting and creating a new response to all of everything you've just been exposed to, and then your immune system may be a little low and you get exposed to flu virus number 13, and that's the one you respond to. So that's why, that's how viral vaccinations work, and there's a lot of really superpower viruses out there that we don't have a vaccination for. So let's go into our innate immune system. Oh, and I also just want to say we're not pausing for questions right now, but I welcome anyone to send me questions. My email address is drsunshine@gmail.com. You can send me questions. We'll figure out different ways to get information out to you guys. But please do be writing down your questions. And again, I'll remind you again later how to get those questions to me. Okay, so let's talk about the innate immune system and what that means. There's that adaptive immune system that creates our immunity to viruses, which we're trying to build that communally, slowly, so that we don't have too many people getting it all at once. We're building our adaptive immune response as a community really slowly here. But our innate immune system is the one that, all of us are wondering, what's going to keep me from being the one going to the hospital, or what's going to keep me from passing it on to everyone? Because, initially our innate immune response is a lot of mucus, a lot of inflammation, and we may think there's not much to it. I feel actually pretty fine. My body, okay, I got a virus. I don't know what it is. Don't hardly feel it. but yet the virus is replicating in our bodies, and we can then pass it on during that time. So again, we're all worried that some of us, like 80% of us that have been exposed, are possibly in that position that it's replicating and we're passing it on. And I know there's so much anxiety out there around not wanting to be the person that's passing it on. So that's why we're isolating. But how do we build that innate immune response so that we do have a really mild response to the virus once we're exposed to it? And there's a couple different ways that we need to support our innate immune response. First of all, we need to figure out how to keep our mucous membranes healthy. That's the first response. Our mucous membranes are the first protection against a virus coming in. And then we need to think about how do we keep our internal army ready? Because once that virus comes in, first, if it gets through the mucous membranes, then we have that army that's ready, and we got everybody running to like doof, 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 or collect up the viruses and figure out what to do with them. So we have a huge army that's inside of us having this response. After that response continues for a while, if the virus continues to get deeper and the system continues getting riled up, then we have a fever response. So fevers are healthy. Next talk, how to support fevers. So our internal army, how do we keep those ready? And then how do we support the immune system to stay strong once it's activated and not putter out? Because that's another thing that can happen is, okay, our immune system responded and then we just didn't have the reserves. And so we need to build all three of those, the mucous membrane, the readiness response, and the reserves to allow the immune system to keep working and be really strong. Okay, so this is how we are going to be the ones to not end up in the hospital. Let's go through it. And let's also talk really quick about the things that suppress our immune system. The things that suppress our immune system are stress, aging, sugar, lack of sleep. We'll talk a little bit about all of those factors. Our immune system can also be weak because of chronic illness and lack of proper nutrition or dehydration. So we'll touch in on all of those pieces. Okay, so before I go into talking about how the general immune system, like those layers of the immune system work, again, I know I'm talking to the Shala community. I'm talking to people who a lot of us have been through the 6-week challenge. A lot of us have had the opportunity to really learn how to work with our bodies to support healthy weight, healthy rhythms, meditation. We've gotten a lot of great training through the programs here. So I'm going to just assume that we've taken that step. But I do want to take a minute to talk about the piece about food just for a moment. The most important thing for us with food is getting vegetables at every meal. So write that one down. Step 1, vegetables at every meal. How can you get that to happen every single day with every single meal you eat? And get creative with it. You can do all kinds of things. You can do the greens powders, or you can like parsley, chopped up, added into everything. The foods, those superfoods are the ones you really do want to get. You want to think about getting some of those at each meal. But really important immune fighting foods are garlic, onion. Garlic and onion are huge for immune fighting. So I really encourage you to make soups. Make a bunch of soups right now, store them in your freezer, have them ready for if you do get sick and you need to take extra special care of you and your loved ones, have some soups ready. Garlic, onions, and then a little moment to talk about mushrooms. If you are using mushrooms to support your immune system, you need to think about mushrooms need to be boiled. So we get some nutritional support, of course, from mushrooms, and we get the immune boosting best if we boil those mushrooms, because we need to get those cell walls broken down. So add mushrooms to your soups and get them boiling for a while, a good 10 minutes of boiling. This is the moment to ask my friend Anna exactly how many minutes, but get them boiling for quite a few minutes and get a lot of mushrooms into even the button mushrooms, inexpensive mushrooms, those also have immune fighting or immune supportive properties. So without going into the details of what makes all those work, write down, make soup. Okay, we've got a couple notes here. Eat vegetables, make soup. Okay. We will touch a little bit on supplements at the end, but again, I think my emphasis and interest is in having us do these day-to-day things to really boost our immune systems. Okay, and then also because we're all exercisers, I want to talk for a moment about exercise. I think we've all learned the 3-day wave from Summer in the Gang, and we want to think about that being a really important way to think about exercise. The moderate exercise is immune boosting. So we want to continue exercise. If we're feeling ill, we want to continue the amount of exercise that we can handle. I think one thing to think about is that with this fear and stress reality, we freeze and we don't really want to move. And I can't say enough how important movement is. So get on your 3-day wave, get on your moderate exercise, really take good care of your movement body. It is one of the best ways to boost your immune system. I could talk to you all day about the studies that show that that's true. But what is also true is that excessive exercise, so for those of us that turn to exercise for stress reduction and really go prolonged exercise, that is an incredible immune suppressant, especially for the upper respiratory. So it's not about excessive long exercising. You know, the step 1 is 30 minutes of exercise 3 times a week. If that's all you got going on, that's you're getting a little immune boosting. But I really encourage you to meet with your coaches, talk with your coaches about your 3-day wave and really get that, because we'll talk about how important keeping your nervous system in tune is also such a key piece for the immune system. Okay. When you're sick, ill, I still encourage movement. I think it's really important to get a little bit of movement, and we'll talk about hydrotherapy as also an alternative to movement. When you're sick, ill, you may tune in more to the no-flow classes. Of course, I love the Qigong as an extreme stress reduction and support for creating an internal elixir for healing your body. So that's on Friday at noon, so you can join us for that class. But again, if you're really not feeling well, I still encourage you to reach out and be connected through our community, our Shala community, and attend those no and low flow classes. Okay. So moving on to the immune system. Okay, so one of the most important things for our immune system is hydration. This is no joke. Everyone I talk to in the clinic and I say, okay, how much water do you drink? No one says, okay, wait. I can think of a few of you that do say that you drink enough. Most people say they don't drink enough water. So all of us are in that boat. Let's reach out and help each other. Hydration is the #1 most important thing on my list for supporting your immune system. So if your lips are dry, you're dehydrated. You don't need chapstick, you need water. So get more water in you if you have dry lips, if you have thirst, if you have headaches, if you feel irritable, if you feel like your stress response is overblown, if you're getting cramping in your body, in your legs while you're sleeping or otherwise, even menstrual cramping, you're dehydrated. So really listen to that. That is one of the most important mindfulness exercises I can recommend, is listening to your body's thirst messages. Again, we all have trouble with this. So find a water buddy, write it down right now. Water buddy. Who's going to be your water buddy? Get someone that will, seriously, until you get in the habit, you need this help for the next 21 days. Write it down. Water buddy. Get someone that will send you a text and say, I just drank 8 ounces of water. My goal for everyone I talk to is 60 ounces of water a day. 60. So that may look like, if you have a water bottle, just calculate how much is that. Keep an eye on it. Figure out how much you're drinking throughout the day. And again, find a buddy that you can just say, okay, I drank this much water, and see if, give yourself gold stars on a chart. We used to do that too. Gold stars on a chart for every 16 ounces that you drink. Try to get yourself all the way up to five gold stars. Yeah, but that is the mucous membrane connection. Okay, so back to that mucous membrane, the first thing that the viruses hit are your mucous membrane. They need to be buoyant. They need to be ready, and the hydration piece allows them to flush better and get rid of those guys trying to get through your goo. So keep your goo healthy. Okay. Then, okay, so that's the goo part. Oh, okay, and a couple things that dehydrate us. I think we all know coffee dehydrates us. Another couple things that dehydrate us is really good fibers. So really healthy fibers, breads, those kinds of things, but adding like chia seeds, flax seeds, those things that our bodies really need to help support good detoxification can also be dehydrating. So hydrate those ahead of time. If you're going to put chia seeds in your smoothie or your flax seeds in your smoothie, or if you're going to put them on your oatmeal, pre-hydrate those kinds of foods so that they're not pulling more water into your into your gut and pulling them out. We want them to be pulling toxins out and pushing those out, but as far as their hydration level, we don't want those to further dehydrate you. Okay, so that is the step one of like the mucous membrane fighting, hydration. Okay, step two is the readiness of your nervous or your immune system, because once something gets past that mucous membrane, then we have all of our little army reporting all over the place that we need to get the next step of the army ready. So how does our body have a proper immune response? And that requires healthy levels of cortisol. So this next step of how to take care of your immune system, I want to get our heads around why the stress vibe is really causes us to have a decreased immune response. The stress vibe is modulated by cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone. If we are in a place where we're like, oh my God, I got to read that new article about COVID. Oh my God, are you sick? Oh my God, is that sick? Are you sick? Okay, if we're in that state, we are releasing cortisol. And it is a very healthy hormone that we want plenty of. But when we're overusing it, then our system becomes less responsive to healthy cortisol activity. Cortisol wears out our organ systems. So we won't go into the detail this time about what's going on with that, but it wears everything out. It's hard on our lungs, over excessive cortisol over time. All of those, I could go into the details. It's very fascinating. It's not good for our sex drive. It's not good for our sleep. So we really need to get that cortisol in a place where it is so ready that the second we get that a virus gets past our hydrated mucous membranes, we have a cortisol response. We're ready. Activate all forces, get them all out. So we need to keep our cortisol levels low and slow the rest of the time. So one of the really important pieces for cortisol management is any of your joy creation. So before I go into joy creation, I want to talk for a second about how to address the stress vibe. I think that so many of us get involved in this stress vibe and we don't really know how to turn it off. It freezes us. Again, we're like, no, I don't want to do anything. I just want to try to relax. And it's so hard to get out of that stress vibe. And what we need is communication. We need to get a journal practice going. We need to find the words to describe what our body is going through. For me, and then we need to really express it to each other. We need to be heard. We need to express it. And when we need to allow movement to then allow our bodies to feel it out. Being frozen, sitting, worrying, listening, watching, that's not going to get it actually dealt with. We need to take a moment, step aside. We need to find the words, journal it out, share it with friends. I can share a quick story from myself in the last few days of how I felt my cortisol levels recover due to sharing and support. During this whole COVID thing, there was this article that came in on Facebook that's like, elderberry is going to kill us all if we're using it while we have COVID. And I'm like, well, that's not true. Oh no, what if it's true? I've told people to use elderberry. What if it's true? Well, it's not true. I already know all the research. I've already read all the research. I've done some of the research. What is this about? And this happened like weeks ago. So there'd been this underlying like worry. Oh no, how do I tell everyone that elderberry is okay? How do we say we better get on elderberry? We better all have elderberry in our lives. But I was trying to be cool about it. And I was like, this is not a big deal. I can't believe I'm feeling like this is such a big deal. It's totally fine. Gosh, it's not a big deal. But it was a big deal because I was feeling the stress. And I had the opportunity to talk to my friend Jody and be like, all of a sudden I was like, okay, I'm stressed. And I'd already like shared with a lot of people I was stressed about it, talk about elderberry, and really like discussed it with all the herbalists and all the clinicians I know, and had it talky. But when I was able to say to Jody, oh my gosh, I'm so totally stressed out. I think everyone's gonna think I'm an idiot when they find out this fake news about elderberry. That was a game changer. I was able to, the real fear was people are gonna think I'm an idiot. Oh my God. And then I was able to get movement with that and have that support. And that's what we need to do for each other right now. It's not about talking about what's stressing us out. It's about digging into the underneath. Like, why is our body going through this? What's the real fear that's happening? And these are survivalist fears that are happening for us right now in our communities. And we need to identify them. We need to share about them. And we need to talk or move through it. We need to move our bodies. We need to have physical support. And right now we're not supposed to touch each other. So I recommend actual movement, really, while not just exercise, but movement while you're talking about this thing. Look at yourself in the mirror, use your relationship with yourself and watch the movements, move slowly. We'll do some of that Qigong movement. All of that is really supportive and helpful while you're processing the feelings that are coming up. That kind of stress management is what we all need more of. Got to clear that toxic stress. Okay, and then joy creation. So right now is our opportunity. I want everyone to write down 2 things that you do that bring you joy. 2 things that you do that bring you joy. Okay, hopefully we've got a couple things written down. Okay, you need time for those things. One of those things, I want to encourage you to plan to do one of those things today, tonight. Just try to imagine yourself, put that into your schedule. Imagine one of those things that you're going to do today and tonight. And that may be like connecting with a friend over the phone. It may be any of those things, but if, bring whatever that is, it may be something, an activity that you do. And I really encourage you to plan to do that tonight. Start imagining that in your future. Okay. And then the other thing about stress reduction, sleep is so important. I think a lot of us have had weird nightmares lately or weird dreams. And I have a new rule in my life, and I'd like to invite you all to have the same rule. I guess it's not new, but I had to reinstate the rule in this last week, but turn off all cell phones, all news, all screens at 8 p.m. I encourage everyone to do that. I even encourage right now that during this time of really getting our nervous systems relaxed, I even encourage you not to watch movies. I even encourage you at that time, like if what you need is laughing movies and joy stuff, get audio, get your screens off, give your brain something else to look at. And if you need to do joy creation comedy, do it through audio. I really encourage you to turn off your screens at 8 p.m. We've got to get our sleep regulated. And that may be the time that you need to like do this processing, do this sharing, do this movement practice of just keeping in your bodies. Stress management is so important right now for all of us. Okay. Okay, so with those two self-care pieces on the stress management and the hydration, the next thing I want to talk about is hydrotherapy. I think we're going to have another talk that we're going to do about once you get sick, if you're sick, how to deal with everything, how to deal with fever and that kind of thing. If we don't have a talk about that, I'll be posting a lot of articles through my website about it, because I think we have such a weird way to deal with sickness in our medical culture. But hydrotherapy, I want to talk about using hydrotherapy preventatively and in the initial stages of sickness as well, I think, when we're still taking good care of ourselves. So hydrotherapy, what is hydrotherapy? Hydrotherapy is the use of hot and cold water. It also could be called like temperature therapy. It's the use of hot and cold water to stimulate water movement in our own body. So we've already talked about the water being such an important part of how our immune system works, that those luscious mucous membranes are so important for us. The water, so we also need to figure out ways to keep that water fresh. So we drink our water, but how do we make sure that we're actually stimulating fresh movement of healthy molecules for the immune system into the mucous membranes, through the blood into the mucous membranes? And that's how we use hydrotherapy. So we haven't really talked about the lymphatic system, but the lymphatic system is the system through which our immune system is nurtured and moves and cleared. So our immune system has all the army is moving through the periphery, through the lymphatic system. So hydrotherapy is the way to use hot and cold water, the pressure of water, and the heat and cool, to move fresh nourishment from the blood out into the lymph, and keep the lymph fresh, keep the blood fresh. It's such an important and such an effective means of immune health, immune boosting. So the technique that I recommend using, that is inexpensive and free or cheap, as long as we all still have our water on, is using hot baths followed by some cold. I'm going to describe a technique that's an old naturopathic trick. It is the cold socks treatment. I think a lot of us have tried it, but I want to talk about why it's so amazing and how to do it. With the cold socks treatment, which we call warming socks, just to remind you that they're not going to be cold for forever. The cold socks treatment is before bed, you get yourself into a hot bath. Hot showers work too. You want to get yourself as hot as possible. And then you put into your sink, or you have ready, cotton socks. The cotton part of the socks is very important. You get this cotton socks wet with cold water. You wring those puppies out good, and then you put those on your feet when you get out of this hot bath. Then you cover those cotton socks with wool socks so that they're breathable. You got cotton and wool, very breathable, and your goal is going to be to kind of dry those suckers out during the night. You get yourself in bed, warmth all around you, cover your head, wrap yourself really warm, and with those socks on your feet. And I talked to someone who uses hot socks. If you are like so opposed to cold socks that your body's telling you can't do it, just put wet socks on your feet and get yourself all wrapped up. And you'll feel that sensation of dum 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 dum. Your body is feeling it. You can feel your blood pumping. That is what we want. Fresh blood pumping while your body is at rest is very healthy for the immune system. Not only is it healthy for getting the blood and the peripheral army in the lymphatics really toned up and exchanging information. You've got this hot, everything's moving, everything's sharing, all the the guys that are out in the periphery that are like a little bit infected by virus and they're kind of ill and they're not really fighting anymore, those guys get moved out and we get fresh ones in with the fresh blood flow. That is what we want. We want more of those fighters out on and the ready. The other thing that's really nice about the restful heat induction is also the cortisol control management that happens there. Your body gets an opportunity to practice good, healthy cortisol production. It also is so nice to do that tune-up right before you're trying to fall asleep. If you do it regularly enough and your body kind of relies on it, you can reset your sleep patterns if you're having wakefulness in the night. Waking up throughout the night is a sign of cortisol releasing in an unproductive sort of way. And so that means there's a stress pattern there that needs to be addressed. And this is one of those self-supports that we can do to really help to reset that cortisol, try to get the body really relaxed. The hot bath, especially if you add in those magnesium salts, the Epsom salts have a lot of magnesium in them. Magnesium is amazing for the nervous system, for really relaxing the muscles. So add in, if you're having a difficult time sleeping or if you're feeling a lot of stress, add in a couple cups of Epsom salts into your bath. Let your body really soak that stuff in. Then get yourself into the cold cotton socks on the feet, warm wool socks over that, and wrap yourself up. So again, a lot of exchange of healthy cellular activity and flushing. And it can be dehydrating to be in a hot bath. That kind of dehydration is still is what you want, as far as then drinking extra water throughout the day, because that's a sign that everything is flushing out and moving. So you do need extra water. If you're going to be in a hot tub or hot bath, you're going to need even more than your 60 ounces of water in order to keep yourself up on it, especially if you're like, oh gosh, I haven't been feeling well. I have this strep throat thing that like seems like it's never cleared from 6 weeks ago. Okay, those people that are in that place that you're like, I feel a little sicky, you need to do at least 3 nights in a row of doing this hydrotherapy treatment. Prioritize it, get it going, get your body turned on. You'll notice it will help to really turn your system back on and kind of kick that thing out. In times like that, I also recommend some supplementation. So we'll talk about supplementation. Well, I wish that we could stop for questions right now, but I really have no idea how to do that in our situation. So thanks for sticking with me. Send me questions to drsunshine@gmail.com. Okay, so before we have a moment of having a little stress reduction with some magical Qigong work, I want to just take a brief moment to talk about supplementation. I am a fan of supplements. I do think they work. And I also am someone who loves to go on supplement vacations. So I am on both sides of the fence with supplements. And supplements are expensive. An inexpensive supplement that I do think is very vital for all of us right now and is a good antiviral, as well as a general immune stimulant, as well as supportive for our nervous systems and our sense of well-being, is vitamin D. I know we all know that. We all need vitamin D. It's real. I really, really believe that. And I think the 2,000 IUs a day is what I recommend. But if someone is feeling ill, I often have them do a 30,000 IU vitamin D bump for 5 days. I think it works. So, and I do think also for those of us who are interested to know, there was a study that showed that vitamin D decreased incidence of the flu better than the flu vaccination. And I think that was like 4 years ago. When was that? 4-ish years ago where that study happened. So vitamin D is incredibly important for our immune systems. So take it. I'm a huge fan of vitamin A, but I am going to go ahead and skip that one right now because it's back ordered from every single company I know. But elderberry, I really trust elderberry as a very wise herb that There's been studies of all parts of the plant that have shown some immune boosting activity. I use the berries. Most of the studies have been done on Sambucus nigra, which is the black elderberry. But our local elderberry is Sambucus caerulea, and I really trust elderberry as a good friend, as an excellent antioxidant. It has more antioxidants than anything else that I know of. And in the H1N1 scare, elderberry won the race. So I really trust it. And whatever the news was about the cytokine storm, that's not how herbs work. In people who are ill, herbs modulate their immune response. So they allow, if you're overproducing something, herbs can help you calm that reaction down. And if you're underproducing something, herbs can really help to bring that activity up in your body. So I trust elderberry to do that as well. Yeah, and then the herbs that are so famous for that adaptogenic response, as we call it, where they increase your reaction to something or decrease overreaction to something. Those adaptogens are really important right now, and those are the ones that really support our cortisol response, our stress response. And that is a long and detailed conversation, and if you're really feeling your nervous system out of whack, I highly encourage you to schedule a consult, because herbs can be really specific and how the best way to use those. But a general recommendation is to look into adaptogenic herbs, rhodiola, ashwagandha, licorice, ginseng. Some people say tulsi. A lot of people love tulsi for that. Easy one to grow in your garden. I recommend that everyone starts putting your seeds in your garden right now for your tulsi plants. Lemon balm is another nice one to be growing in your yards for supporting your nervous system. Yeah, and any of the kitchen herbs. I encourage everyone to grow a few kitchen herbs in your window. Not a lot of kitchen herbs that are specifically considered adaptogens for your cortisol response, but they are amazing. Okay, so that's a little moment on supplements, and you can, for anyone that's out of funds or out of work, you can make an appointment with me at my clinic. At ncnmhouse.com, you can do a free consult for a 15-minute free consult. If you'd just like to get some quick info about how to support yourself and you don't have the money, that's totally fine. We can do it that way. For those of you who do have insurance, I encourage you to make an appointment to just get your medical situation primed up. And we're doing telehealth appointments at the clinic. It's NCNM in Bellingham, so NCNM, Northwestern Clinic of Naturopathic Medicine is the clinic that I'm at. Okay. I wish that we could chat right now and have questions, but instead let's all get to our feet. We're gonna have a little moment of getting our nervous systems nice and relaxed. We're gonna do a Qigong practice. And instead of a Qigong practice that focuses on activating our immune system, we're going to do a practice that really focuses on centering ourselves, tuning our bodies and our souls, our spirits in together to really at the seat of our heart of wisdom for our bodies. We're going to work on our wisdom gate a little bit. This is the area in our bodies that really, it's the prime minister of the body. So our deepest wisdom and our knowing and how to respond to things and having our boundaries, what information do we need to bring in and what information is none of our business. This is the area I think we all need to have extra special attention to right now. So let's take a moment to have a little mindfulness Qigong practice. Go ahead and come to your feet if you're not already, and we'll have our feet about hips width apart. And I am going to try to figure out how to do this where you can, I don't know if you can see me, but hopefully you can. Okay, so feet about hips width apart, and let's bring in a bounce. Let's bend the knees over the little toes, feeling the back side of the body. the outside of the arms, the outside of the legs, really landing in those heels. Checking in that the back of the hips are relaxed all the way down to the anus. And let's bend the knees over the little, or the big toes, so toward the inner part of the feet. Continue with that little bounce, and let that bounce let your feet just catch you at the bottom of the bounce, and you just bounce right back up. Feel the inside of the arms and the inside of the legs. Bring your chin down a little bit, lift up through the crown, let those shoulders fall down the back. And then we'll have our feet pointing over the middle part of our toes, middle part of our feet. Continuing this little gentle bounce. Using this bounce, just align yourself with the earth, with the greater wisdom of the earth, with your presence, feeling where your body is in space. And then we'll bring our bounce to a stop and palms up in front of the chest. Take a moment here to just check that the hips are relaxed. We have a little bend in the knees, a little hinge in the hips, a little lifting of the chest. Let's invite the mind into the internal organs, through the mouth, through the throat and thyroid, down through the chest. Feeling our body breathe and breathe down into the abdomen. Inviting the mind deep into the abdomen, letting the internal organs be the mind. And then even deeper down to the pelvis. Let's take a breath in, tilting the chin back, feeling the forehead and the back of the head for the gentleman. Breathe in and then hold your breath at the top and take a moment to really feel the chest broad. Just relax here for a moment. With the exhale, let's bring the chin down and let all of your awareness come into your hands, as if you're receiving your own hands. Let's inhale again and tilt that chin back. Let's feel the energy of the head or the back of the head for the gentleman. Hold here for a moment at the top of your breath. Observe the sensations in your head. Observe. And then exhale, chin coming down, feeling the palms. Relax through the wrists and the elbows. One more time here. Checking that the hips are relaxed all the way to the anus. And feeling those palms. Letting the palms just come alive. And let's drop the palms down to the side. Let's take a gathering breath, palms facing up toward the sky and moving nice and slow. Let's just notice the sensation in the palms. That energy, awareness, that little bit of movement coming up, bringing the hands up over the crown. That sensation in the palms of movement. Palms coming together over the head. And we'll bring the palms down in front of the forehead. Feel the feet on the ground, and let's take another inhale, tilting that chin back. Feel the head. Observe all the sensations there. And then exhaling and feeling the palms. Relax the shoulders. Let the sensation between the palms be everything. And let's do this twice again. Bringing that chin all the way down to expand through the back of the neck. One more time here. Feeling the head. And exhaling to feel the hands. With our inhale, let's drift those hands down in front of the heart. Let the movement of the hands become everything. Let's inhale into the chest, into that thymus, center of our immune response. And then let those shoulders draw down the back and pushing those hands out over the feet. Let the sensations in the hands be everything. That sensitive awareness of the touch between the hands. Let's inhale into the chest again. Relax through the hips. And exhale into the hands, drifting those hands. Tiny micro movements and letting your whole nervous system just tune into the micro movement. And one more time here. Inhaling and bringing the hands to the chest, broad through the chest, lifting, allowing yourself to really fill. And exhaling, drifting those hands away. Lift the toes a little bit to really let yourself sit in your heels. And all your awareness in your hands, let's drift those hands apart in micro movements. So we're really only wanting to move just as fast as our nervous system can perceive the movement, as if it is everything that our whole bodies are tuning into. Drifting those hands apart. And we'll drift the hands together and apart, just enhancing our nervous system awareness, our body's sensations in the hands. Drifting them apart and back together. Just noticing as if you're pulling taffy between your hands, or you've got little magnets between your hands, letting whatever the sensation is be what it is. No judgment, no effort, just feeling the hands. Let's lift the elbows and palms facing down toward the earth. Let's bring the hands down the front of the body. And we'll go past that navel, and then we'll face the palms toward the body as if we're holding a bowl of water here at the pelvis. And letting the hands just hold that bowl of water, that sacred space of that pelvis. Relax all the way through the back of the pelvis. Let's try little micro movements in the hands, as if you're sending little ripples of awareness through that bowl of water to the back of the bowl of water, the back of the pelvis. And let's drop the hands down to the side. And we'll take a gathering breath. We're going to move the hands up over the top of the head again, moving slowly enough to really tune into the sensation. Palms are going to come all the way up over the crown once again. And that sensation of movement in the hands, that whatever the hands perceive in the movement, and imagine that is gathering energy up. We're gathering up the energy around us, all these invisible reality of the matrix of energy around us, gathering it up. And we're bringing it down once again into that bowl of water to fill that bowl of water, fill that nutrient-dense space. We're going to bring our hands together. We'll take the right hand to the left shoulder. We're going to tap out the front of the shoulder, over the top, and down the arm. We're going to tap out the inner arm along the front of the chest. Then we'll go to we'll do the same thing on the opposite side, tapping along the front of the chest, along the top of the shoulder, really allowing your body to feel this sensation from the inside. Tune into the sensation of moving that energy, freshening up, activating, imagining you're just getting the whole defense system, just coaching them. Good job, everybody. Good job. Good work. And down to the ribs. Good job to our spleen and our liver, down to the front of that bowl of water. We'll lean forward, we'll come around. Leaning forward, we'll come around behind the navel to the kidneys. tapping out those kidneys, on top of which are adrenal glands producing that cortisol, and just let them know, good job, everybody, good job. Come down the back of the legs. Tapping out your whole legs, all the way to your feet. Can't tell if I'm on video. Coming along the inside of the feet and the inside of the ankles, and we'll tap up the inside and front of the legs. Let's shake it out. Okay, so we're gonna place our thumb right next to our index finger and hold our thumb like we have a little, we just caught a nose. Let's bring that mudra right there where our ribs come together, the center, the middle. And tune into the sensation in your hands. Well, we only have a few more minutes left here, so we're just gonna tune into the sensation. I'm gonna invite this area of the body, this prime minister of the body, to have our awareness, have our honor. Tuning in to the sensation in the fingers, connecting the two thumbs, feeling the palms, and inviting that ripple of awareness to go into the body, deep into the back of the body, through that wisdom gate area. Let's take an inhale here and take a hold. Bring those elbows behind you, palms facing down toward the earth. Let's exhale and bring those thumbs out over our big toes. Relax through the elbows, lining up the hands and the feet, the thumbs and the big toes. Let's turn those hands around and bring them all the way up to the chin. Let's draw some lines of awareness. Let's really relax through the chin, through the jaw. Drawing lines along the outer chin, outer jaw. Breathing in here, really feeling that area of the body. Feel that space. And exhale, let's bring the palms, the thumbs out over the feet once again. Hands once again turning around and coming up to the temples. Let's notice any stress or strain in the brain. Just see it, become aware of it. Let's exhale, bring the palms out once again, thumbs over the feet, thumbs to toes. Drop down as if you have little anchors, if you're fishing way far deep down there, into the feet, hands to feet. Playing with that awareness, that possibility of the hands and feet, staying connected. Let's take an inhale, come into the temple zone again. Let's draw lines all the way down the throat, down both sides of the torso. Just trusting this 5,000 years of meridian development awareness. Let your hands guide you. We're going to lean forward. We're going to come down the front of the thighs and now out to the outer knees and pause for a moment, lining up your hands and right below your knees. Just allow your body to be seen and felt from the inside. We're going to drop our hands down. We're going to invite the energy of the body to connect down between the second and third toes. And it's as if we're just pulling any strain or stress out of the body. Let's pull it out between the second and third toes. Give your body permission to release the strain or stress. And then let's connect in pinky or the big toes and the thumbs. Now we want to connect with that earth energy, that wise earth energy, and let's draw that energy in. Come along the inner arches, really nourish yourself with the inner arches as if your hands are projecting laser beams. You can point the palms in toward those inner arches to the inner ankles. Tuck in that belly button and let's roll up, feeling those inner legs. We're inviting that fresh earth energy, grounding down into the earth and inviting that energy to just rise into the body, allowing your body to just align with that feeling. We're going to invite it up through the earth center, through where the legs meet the torso, and all the way back up to that wisdom gate area. Building a little nest there of earth energy. Feeling your hands, your little chi babies in your hands, nestling in there to that little earth nest. Feeling your body become deeper aware of that wisdom gate, that earth connection, that deep wisdom. Taking a moment to honor your body's wisdom, the wisdom of your innate immune system, the wisdom of your intuition. Let's release that mudra, hands open here at that wisdom gate, feeling the two hands. Let's lift the elbows, palms facing down towards the earth. Let's bring the hands down again towards that bowl of water in the pelvis. Let's drop the hands down in a gathering breath. Palms coming all the way up overhead, dropping the shoulders behind you, palms coming overhead and down the front. Inviting that energy to continue to gather. Inviting it to restore and renew your warm mountain lake bowl of water here in your pelvis. Relaxing through the hips. Let's bring our hands together. Okay. And now we're going to do the full tap down again, and we're at our hour mark, so some of you might have to go, but let's go ahead and tap down if you still have a moment. We'll start with our right hand on the left side. Go into the other side. Tapping out the ribs. This is the technique I recommend everyone do before they go to sleep at night. Just release the stresses, come around to the kidneys, nourish your adrenal glands. Give them a little pet. Love those guys. What good work you guys are doing back there. Good work. Down the back of the legs. And hanging here at the feet, let your head really relax down. Taking an inhale into the kidneys and out the feet. Three times, really allowing yourself to ground out, inhaling into the kidneys. Allow the waterfall to come down through the legs and fill the feet. Tucking in the belly button, let's roll up. Take the hands and pull out the ears, releasing any other stress that needs to be released. Move fresh energy through the ears and tap it out. Okay. Feeling your feet on the ground, let's take a gathering breath. Palms coming all the way up over the head and palms coming together over the head. Let the shoulders roll down the back. Bringing the palms down in front of the chest. Taking a moment to just honor your body, honor your vitality. Seeing where you end and the rest of the world begins. And just holding that space for yourself. allowing the closure of the hands indicate the closure of the practice, the closure of that mountain lake. Just seeing all of that as one system in your body, the back of your body, the front, the head to the feet. And that closes our practice. And that closes our talk. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope you have a healthy day, week, month, multiple months, and we'll see you next time. And recording is